I get this question asked all the time. Hey coach, all the information that you gave us about the role and responsibility of a Scrum Master, all the tools, all the techniques, tips that you shared, everything is awesome. But can you also walk us through as to what does a typical day look like for a Scrum Master? What does his or her day look like? And that is, my friend, a great question. Now, this following conversation will help you answer that very important question. I want you to join my conversation with one of my friend, a close friend, who is working as a Scrum Master in a well-reputed company that is well known across the globe. So, without further ado, let's join that conversation where he's going to walk us through the day in the life of a Scrum Master.
Somehow that was like quite natural to me, connecting with people, helping out wherever they want to, and then I got introduced to this agile way of working,
Yes.
and I did my Scrum Master certification while I was working as a project manager, and then slowly I started shifting my career goals towards more Scrum Master and Agile Coach kind of responsibility. So basically, to start with, as a Scrum Master, the responsibilities that I have, I basically categorize them. If I have to categorize, will be into three different heads.
Mm-hmm.
One is working with the development team. The other responsibility is working very closely with the product owner. And the third responsibility, which is kind of a very, I would say, depends on the organization that you're working on.
Mm-hmm.
So I would categorize my other list of tasks under organizational support. Right. In a typical day, when I go to office, my the first priority of the day is to have the first greetings or the first, catch up with my team. So now the scenarios have changed. Most of
Mm-hmm.
my teams are remote. Remote meaning even in different time zones.
Right.
So it's not.
Let me just stop you right there. Sorry, but you said so. The first priority is the team update. So that's not. Is that the daily Scrum, or is this something before daily Scrum?
The daily Scrum hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
I will come to that.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say is you get into that mood, right? You make the team feel that, yes, I'm here. Now you can approach me. You can talk to me if you have any problems, and I will be happy to help you out. So basically starting your day, connecting to everyone, and wishing them well, and just checking offline. How did you do? Some people work late overnight. So
right.
I saw, yeah, I saw you working late, and then what's the problem? That kind of thing.
Gotcha.
So the first event that starts for the day is obviously the daily Scrum. Now, when I say daily Scrum, it depends on the time zones that your team members are in. I even have my daily Scrums for some of my teams at the end of the day, around 5:30 to 6 p.m. That's the reason for that is to have a kind of overlap time zone so that everybody is in their working hours.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'll talk about a typical team, which starting from the day in the morning, the first thing that we have is the daily Scrum. Again, daily Scrum is like I make it a point that people connect as personally as possible. When people are remote, people tend to be off on cameras. They don't show their faces. So we make a request. Hey, dude, what's happening? What's wrong? And, I would like to see your face. It has been a long time. We haven't been able to catch up, but at least show your face, man. And that kind of thing, make things casual and make things relax as much as possible.
So I think Mike, I've been mentioning several times probably that being a Scrum Master is more of a people person. Right? It is about people, not about any specific technology or any specific project in general as such. It's about people. You as a Scrum Master, you are the change agent, right? You're kind of the first one to bring in the change. So you are in fact asking people to change the way they do their work,
Hmm.
right? The way they approach their project, the way they approach the product development, right? So you are working towards changing their approach, their mindset,
Hmm.
and you cannot do that with a specific technology as such. The technology that you have to use is this.
Yeah, that's
So
40,000 years of technology.
right. So it is very important for you to connect to the people here,
Hmm.
and then
Yes.
What I have realized is even for a day, if you don't talk about technology, you don't talk about work, that's fine as well. People need somebody to express, because everybody is stressed in the office environment. So
Yes.
that's where we come in. We kind of help people to get happiness of that, if I have to say that. So like coming to office or working is making sure that they feel good about it.
Yes. Okay. Very
So
good.
where I was is like in a daily scrum, I make sure that people are on the call. I make sure that at least I spend 1 or a couple of minutes just to talk about weather, or talk about yesterday's challenges, or make a joke or something, like I had
Hmm.
a breakfast or something, the usual stuff.
Yes.
So the icebreaker, yeah. And then we, as you know, daily scrum is not supposed to be a status update meeting, but people tend to feel like, so we are like servant leaders. So we are like leaders, and people tend to report. At least I have seen that. Like when you ask, when stand up comes, people think, oh, he's like a leader, let me report my status. But that's
Hmm.
not we are supposed to do. So what I tell them is, guys, it's okay if you don't want to speak, that's fine. Just tell me if there is anything I can help you with,
Right.
if anything is blocking you. And I don't need to know what you did yesterday or what you'll be doing today. That's fine if you share with the other team members, but that's not what I want to know. I want to know what is blocking you, what is stopping you, how I can be of any help for you today. So that goes on for 15 minutes. People talk, people have points to discuss. Sometimes I tell the other people to leave. Okay, guys, it's done. But there are some topics we need to talk offline. I make sure that I stay back if the people are talking on the call.
Hmm.
And that's about it. The daily scrum is done. Apart from this, so the next thing that I do typically is I go into our tracking tool. Right now we are using Jira.
Hmm.
So I go and check, have the things move. So I maintain my own statistics, like how much of story points were moved from say from review to done. Did did we do kind of better job than yesterday? Yesterday we had say 30 story points in to do. Today do we have things in progress? Because that also gives me a kind of a background to talk about in the next day's stand up. Like, hey guys, I observed that we have too many to dos and we just have a couple of days remaining for the sprint. So what do you think we should do? Should we sit
Hmm.
together to move stuff out, or are you all good with it? Or am I seeing something wrong, that things have moved, but the tracking tool is not showing the correct picture of that.
Right. Okay.
That kind
Sandeep,
of thing.
would you say that as a Scrum Master, you are not just reacting, but you are in fact being proactive also? And yes, you have to react as in the team members bring in impediments. You have to react to it and work with others in the organization to clear that impediment roadblock, right? But at the same time, you have to stay ahead of the game also, I would say. No, you have to kind of be proactive and think about what can help the team tomorrow, next week, right? And I think that's what you are doing, looking at it and okay, what's coming up next.
Yeah, so team members tend to work in silos, because with this remote environment also, there is
Hmm.
hardly any chance for people to interact with each other. So my
Right.
job is to bring that visibility, what's happening across the team. So when I look at the tracking tool, I have I get an idea like how many people are working on which tasks. So the next day I just bring up the charts that I make out of. I do
Hmm.
maintain some statistics as well, which is aside from the tracking tool. some formulas, things like that on my Excel sheets. So to track the velocity, to track the capacity of the team, so that kind of thing.
Yep.
So that helps me to visualize overall what's happening in the team, and also helps me to share that information, not daily, but at least couple of
times a week, just to let them know where they are. Okay.
Yeah, just bringing up that dashboard and showing them, hey guys, this is where we are going, and this is what we need to achieve. But it seems to be quite far off. Are you guys okay with it? Then we do something like yesterday's weather. Yesterday's weather is like, where were we like in the previous sprint or in the previous week, what situation we were in, like comparing with the some previous milestone, or whatever we are working towards. So that gives an idea about the team, and that information is really appreciated, because that is where people get to see an overall view what's going on in the team.
Okay.
So that helps. That is what I do. And then I typically once my this understanding of the team's situation is done, I typically approach the product owner. So that's the another head that I was talking about, the categorizing my responsibilities: development team, product owner, and organization. So I spend quite a lot of time with my product owner as well. Even a casual coffee. How are things today? Let's catch up and talk a bit over a cup of coffee. So we go over to our pantry and we just talk, and I try to grasp what is going on. Is he facing any problems, or if there is something that I have heard from the team where the developers are not able to understand what's need to be done next, or why this was a priority, why it did not work in something else, variety of topics.
Right.
So those kind of casual catch up with the product owner really helps. And I also kind of similar approach, right? I'm here to help you out, helping the product owner, giving him that confidence that yes, if you are facing problems writing user stories, if you are facing problems, say, talking to the department head, so that's where I come in. And the setup that we have done in our company is like, we belong to a team called Agile Coaches Group, which sits outside any of the development organization or administrative organization. We are separate group. But coming back to the product owners, so we talk about user stories. What are the next OKRs coming up? OKRs is like quarterly goals that we track in our company. So that's how we connect that to the evaluation of the team also, and the team manager. So that's really important for us. So I talk on that OKRs as well sometimes. Why we are going slow on this, why there is not enough progress, when should we do a review, those kind of things. And then obviously when the sprint is going on the background, we are continuously refining the backlog. The product owner is supposed to be working on the backlog. So that's also one of my responsibility, to go into and check that things are moving. I don't fix any particular schedule for backlog refinements, but I make sure that it keeps on happening in the background. And I do ask questions. So that's where my role as a product owner, helping out the product owner, goes. And it takes time, but over a period of time, it's my responsibility, or rather I should say it's my duty, to gain the trust of the product owner. That's very important. And the whole Scrum team, in my experience, is structured or directed or guided by the product owner. So it's very important for me to make sure that the team trusts the product owner, and the product owner gets what he wants the teams to do.
There you have it, my friends. Remember, you are the change agent. You are a servant leader. You are affecting this change at multiple levels. As we discussed, you are working at 3 different levels. You are working with the development team, you are working with the product owner, and you are working with the organization. at the organizational level. We discussed a few things that must be on your daily calendar as a Scrum Master. Let me list them here for your quick reference. So first, we talked about catching up with the team. The small talks help here. What we want to do is connect with them at the personal level. Next, we talked about was the daily scrum. You want to attend the daily scrum. You want to facilitate the daily scrum. Now remember, daily scrum is not a status update meeting. Next on my list would be the impediments. At the daily scrum, I want to provide updates on the impediments. Remember, the team members will report the impediments at the daily scrum, and then it becomes your responsibility. You take the ownership of that impediment. Work with others in the team, work with others in the organization across the teams. Reach out to them and work towards clearing these impediments, clearing these roadblocks, so that your team can continue to make that forward progress. So remember, you are always going to ask that question, how can I help you? Remember, you are a servant leader, so you want to be continuously making it about them. Get the impediments, work on the impediments, work on clearing them. Right? So definitely at the daily scrum, I would be providing updates on those impediments as to what progress I have made, what progress I haven't made. Next was reviewing the data. On a regular basis, on a daily basis, I want to review the data, the metrics, the charts, right? They help you identify the patterns. They help you identify the patterns to stay ahead of the game. Again, remember, you need to be where the puck is going to be. So look at this data, look at this chart to give you those advanced indicators. Next, I would say is the conversation, and specifically the conversation with the product owner. On a daily basis, I want to have a continuous and constant touch point with my product owner. I look at the Scrum Master and product owner as the Batman and Robin. So continue to have that continuous and constant touch point. Talk to your product owner on a regular basis, a couple of times in a day maybe. Right? Next we talked about was the touch point with the management. Right? So I want to have those occasional meetings with the management and stakeholders. In fact, I would say that it should be happening on a regular cadence. I personally like to meet at least once every 2 weeks. So reach out to your management, you reach out to your stakeholders and get on their calendar and meet them on a regular basis. And above all, make it fun. Make this journey, make this agile journey a fun journey for you, for your team. A happy team is more likely to become a high-performing team. We said this earlier, I will repeat that again. Don't forget that being a Scrum Master is about people. It is not about any specific technology. It is about people. Make it about them. Remember, you're working on changing their behavior. You're working on changing their mindset. You're working on changing the way they look at, they approach, they build and deliver the product. Now, join me and Sandeep again in the next video where we continue this conversation. We touch on multiple topics such as Scrum Master and management, Scrum Master and organizational change, the team's health check, making a transition from a traditional project manager to the Scrum Master role, and many more. So don't forget to join us in the next video. And oh yes, if you like this video, if you get value out of this video, If you got value out of this conversation, please hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel. Be social and forward it to your friends, colleagues, and peers. Help them learn these important aspects of being a Scrum Master. All right, and don't forget to join us in the next video. One more thing. I have one more question for you before you go. Are you a traditional project manager? Lost and confused as to how to make the switch to the Agile world? Wondering how I can transition from a PM to a Scrum Master role? No, all hopes are not lost. Yes, you can make that transition. You can make a transition from being a traditional PM to being an effective and impactful Scrum Master. What you need is the right kind of training. And on top of that, you need the right mentor to help you in that transition. If you are that PM, if you are that traditional PM who is looking to make that transition, reach out to me. Let's have that conversation. Let me help you escape that waterfall world.